Greetings. My name is Dr. Ian Malcolm. And as you can see by the several different fractal curves I have drawn up here on the screen for you, the podcast that you're about to listen to contains massive amounts of cursing, sexual discussions, and other adult themes, which is a bit strange because we are using the iconography and references to material generally viewed and loved by children. That's chaos theory. That's chaos theory.
And welcome to this week's spectacular episode of the Demons from Outer Space. Joining me as always is my handy compatriot, Mr. Dylan McCandless, aka Super DM64.
I feel like you're running out of ways to introduce me.
I am. Dylan, it's been 61 episodes. I'm running out of ways to describe you that aren't offensive or racist or... Because I'm going to start hurling fucking white and southern racial slurs at you.
So as soon as you said, like, my handy compatriot, I was like, he's running out of shit to say.
Dylan, how would you like to be described? If you had to pick one word to sum you up, and don't say probably not, because that's 2 words. If you had to pick one word to sum up your entire character, your entire personality, what would it be?
You know what I mean? No,
You know what I mean? Yes, no, I mean.
No, fuck, I don't know. One word.
I would call you...
Asshole.
Yes! And my asshole friend, Dylan McCandless. A.K.A. Super DM.
One time, I called him asshole.
Asshole. Whoa. I would call you... What's a word for... I want a kind of negative connotation for a word that means really suspicious. I don't mean that you're shady. I just mean that you always think about shit before you say or do something. So it's like, alright, I'm like, Dylan, let's go fucking drive my car onto a fucking icy lake. You're like, no, we're not.
I mean, I think anyone in their right mind would do so. So maybe sane is the word you're looking for?
I wouldn't call you sane. I don't know. You strike me as the, like whenever we talk, you're always just like, I ain't having that shit. Like, what would be the word? I'm trying to think like a proper term for. You're always like thinking about you're always thinking about like things that people say. And the options that you have, and you're always picking the option that fucks the other person over and behooves you. Self-serving, I suppose?
That's 2 words.
Oh, shit. Well, it's technically... Well, it's got a hyphen in the middle. Or you can put a hyphen in the middle.
I'm not putting a hyphen in the middle.
Alright, fair enough. Alright, so you know what? Before this goes any further, we've got shit to talk about tonight, so why don't we just dive in? Dylan, I have some crushing news that we need to kind of address each other on, and address the world on, and give our thoughts on, because I know that the world would be angry if we didn't. Dylan, Bruce Jenner is becoming a woman.
What?
I know. I'm crushed. I thought it was going to last forever, his masculinity, but here I am. I was mistaken. I know that my Wheaties will never taste the same again.
I want to make a joke, but no joke that I make will be better than the one that was already made on Saturday Night Live.
What was the one they made?
So they were doing their weekend update, which is like a fake news broadcast.
Yeah.
And Cecily Strong, the chick that does it now, she was like, no, she doesn't do it anymore, actually. This was a while ago, like when he was like... Anyway, so it was when him and...
Well, it's been out for a while that he was going to do this.
Yeah, but it was when him and Chris announced that they were getting divorced, right?
Well, that was like a fucking year ago, dude.
They're like, Bruce Jenner and Kris Kardashian are getting a divorce. I'm excited and ready to start my life as a single middle-aged woman, said Bruce Jenner.
It's true. It's true, though, pretty much. So, Dylan, Bruce Jenner's going to be a woman.
Yep.
How does that make you feel?
I don't really give a shit.
I feel the same way. Let's move on, shall we? No.
What's his name going to be?
Bruce Alina.
Is that accurate?
I'm going to see if that's a fucking name.
Because I got to tell you, that's a pretty fucking stupid name.
Well, he is a Kardashian, so I'm not going to say that it's Oh, wait a second. Hang on. It might actually be a name.
It's a name.
No, it's not a name. It's not a person's name. It is, however,
not a person's name.
It is, however, the name. Damn it! My fucking computer just got fucked up. What the hell is this shit? It is, however, the name of a brand of computer ink cartridges.
Wonderful.
He can name himself after that. It's something else too. What the hell is that? Hang on. I can't tell.
Doesn't really matter. Nobody has normal names anymore. He can name
No.
He can name himself something ridiculous.
Oh, it's also the name of a vaccine for it's a vaccine for some kind of bovine disease.
They could be like, Bruce Jenner, what do you want your new name to be? And he'd be like, tape recorder.
Tape recorder. I won't be named MP3. No.
Anyone who got that tape recorder reference, good on you.
No, it's a name. Bruce Alina is a name.
Bruce.
It is the name. It is the name of a person as well. There are people on Facebook named Bruce Alina.
Those poor schmucks.
So let's see. Bruce, female name. Oh, there we go. Bruce, female name.
Very eloquent.
Bruce Jenner, sex change. Hang on, is this it? He might have already told us what his name's going to be.
Have you ever heard the details of how that goes down?
Sex change?
Yeah.
There are a bunch of different ways you can do it.
It's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, so let's talk about this a little bit. Obviously, we won't spend the whole show on this, but because we'd be like, the Demons from Outer Space this week. Last week, they covered Star Wars. This week, Bruce Jenner's sex change.
This week, the details of how to turn a penis into a vagina.
Well, that's the one thing. So that's number one. That you have to do surgically.
Exactly.
Now I know there are different ways you can do it. There is the simple way, which is you push the penis up into the skin, and you use excess skin to create the semblance of a labia. And then the doctor makes that kind of transforms the urinary tract, and it's all very complicated and
terrifying.
Yeah, it's different and scary. No. So that's number one. But then I'm pretty sure what happens is, if I remember my high school sexual education class correctly,
they covered this in there.
Oh yeah, they covered this big time. This, and they covered homosexuality, all that different shit. Because it's the 21st century, Dylan. We put a fucking man on the moon. We're gonna cover sex changes in fucking sexual education class in high school. So, based on what I remember from that, and this is years ago, I haven't taken a sex ed class in a long time. I bet you can guess why. They inject different hormones into the body. I don't know where they inject. They just inject them in the arm, or if they actually have to inject them into the glands themselves. I guess you'd have to inject them into the glands, right, to alter what that's producing.
I suppose so, yeah.
And then you just kind of it happens over time. It's a gradual it takes a while. There was an episode of Law and Order all about it. There was a boy who was transitioning into a girl. Law and Order SVU.
Huh.
You don't remember this?
I've probably seen this at some point, but...
Yeah, I saw it not recently, but not... It was like a year or so ago. I remember seeing this episode of SVU where there was this boy who was transitioning into a girl who was going out with this girl who was transitioning into a boy.
Well, there's a story to tell the grandkids.
There you go. That's the next fucking Free Willy right there. Fucking a boy and his transgender other boy. So yeah.
The classic story of boy meets girl, boy becomes girl, girl becomes boy.
It would be kind of an interesting idea for like a kind of an experimental film if you did a story about two people who fall in love and then they both go through the transgender process, but their love kind of maintains. Anyway, we can write that movie later, Dylan. You can co-write it with me.
When Barbara Walters was fucking interviewing this motherfucker, she asks, after you have the operation, will you technically be gay? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, you're bringing sexuality, and it's not really a matter of sexuality, it's a matter of gender. And I'm like, yeah, they're two separate things, but when you change one, it kind of affects the other.
I think it depends. Well, is he going to... Oh, because he's going to stay with women. Oh, I see.
He's not going to switch to penis. He clearly said in the interview that he's not attracted to males.
He himself just feels like he's a woman.
Indeed.
Okay. So he wants to be a lesbian, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so well, if you identify as a female, and legally, I think you have to identify as a female. Or do you identify as transgender? I think you actually identify as female, right?
I guess.
Or is there a separate category on like when you go to like sign up for a bank account?
Yeah, they did a whole episode of South Park about this. What do you do about bathrooms, like public restrooms?
I think again, it depends on what they do with the fucking penis. Some of them don't. They just leave it. The rest of their body is saying that I don't know what he's doing, but some transgenders just leave it.
So they become a chick with a dick.
Yes. There's lots of porn all about that.
Yes, there is.
I've seen all of it. No.
There's also a movie called The Crying Game, and that's some twist at the end, I'll tell you.
Now, what about fucking Sleepaway Camp, dude? Holy shit.
Oh, that fucking...
Holy shit. That last fucking shot is the most horrifying but the worst special effect I have ever seen of this fucking girl's head screaming on this bloody dude's body with this giant fucking dick.
I just love the Cinema Snob's reaction. Sits there for a minute. That's a dick.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. But yeah, some of them leave it. I don't know what he's doing. If he's gonna stay with women, I'm assuming he's probably gonna leave it. I don't know what is involved in the surgery, but you know, it sounds like a lot of work. So I wouldn't do it. If I had to become a woman, I would say, yeah, just leave that.
If you had to become a woman now.
I mean, if I was forced to, I'd be like, yeah, just leave the dick. It's all good.
Can't you just go the Mrs. Doubtfire?
Leave me a reminder.
Just go the Mrs. Doubtfire route.
Well, he didn't become a woman, though. He was just fucking wearing a costume.
Precisely.
Well, no, I guess, like, okay, well, what if somebody at gunpoint was like, you have to go through the transgender process, and I'm like, why?
Like, because
because I have a gun to your head and I'm fucked up, so do it.
Because we like to make fucking weird demands at gunpoint, that's what.
That's what we've done on the show in the past, is make weird demands at gunpoint.
You're like, fair enough.
Fair, okay, alright, fair. Good podcasting is good podcasting, I'm down. And then I guess, yeah, I don't know. I would like to keep my penis, if I could keep anything. Because then at least I could become like a masculine woman afterwards.
I find that the penis is a wonderful thing to have.
It's useful. And it has its advantage. It has its pros and cons. You know, it sometimes gets in the way when you're putting on shorts. It sometimes can be an issue when, you know, your shorts are a little tight or when your pants are a little tight.
But you get to peace standing up and... Yeah.
You know, it's sometimes when you're sitting there watching TV, it's just nice to have something to fucking grab onto for support.
He doesn't bleed once a month.
No, that's well, he's not going to do that, Dylan. Just because he becomes a woman doesn't mean he's going to do that.
No, I'm just saying, these are the advantages of being born male.
Yeah, I would say so. But of course, you know, if we get kicked there, it's we're all like crying out for us to go back and lose that extra chromosome.
That's why you wear a cup.
Everywhere. You just see, Dylan, look how suspicious you are. Like, oh, I wear a cup everywhere these days. You never know when some shady ass motherfucker is going to be sitting behind a bush waiting to kick me in the nuts.
If I should randomly decide to murder some chick, I don't want her pulling that self-defense class shit.
I remember there was this fucking moment in season 2 of Buffy where Angel goes evil, and Buffy and him are fighting. They fought like a couple times in the season at that point. So they're fighting, and Angel says something, and he's been trying to get under her skin the whole season. And finally, she just decides to just kick him in the fucking nuts. And it's fucking amazing. Because the look on David Boreanaz's face telegraphs to me she actually kicked him in the nuts. I love that guy. I wanted him to play Batman. Did I ever tell you that? I think we talked about this on the show. Yeah, I wanted him to play Batman in the new Batman movie, in the new Batman vs. Superman movie, but...
I think you discussed this at length, yes.
Fuck you, Ben Affleck. No. I guess we could talk about that a little bit. I don't know if you have anything else to say about Bruce Jenner becoming a woman.
I mean, good on you, I guess.
I mean, well, let's just say that quickly. We've been kind of shitting on him this whole time. 2 things. One, good for him. Let him do whatever the fuck he wants. That's awesome for him. If he feels happier in that way, great. Stay the fuck off the news.
Yeah.
Please.
I don't know that he's the best spokesperson for transgender issues.
Not even that. That's not what I mean. It's not because I don't want to see somebody going through the transgender process on the news. I don't want to see him going through the transgender process on the news because of the fucking family he's associated with.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know that...
Because fuck them and fuck everything they stand for.
That's what I'm saying. Why I'm saying I don't know if he's the best person to be like the...
That's the thing. It's like...
the spokesperson for transgender issues.
It's like, you know, regardless of politics, regardless of fucking anything, all that family is, based on what I know of them, from the shit I read in the tabloids and the fucking shit I see on the news, is that they are nothing more than just attention-seeking whores. So, you know, listen, you want to do something? Do it. You don't have to fucking light the world on fire because you did it. And that's what happened. The world is like, you know, everybody fucking was like, he's not going to have a penis anymore. I know we just discussed that was debatable whether or not he would, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know if they went into that much detail in the interview.
I didn't watch the interview. I don't know what exactly what do they talk about? Just like, so you're gonna have boobs. What do you think about that?
The part that I saw was mainly him talking about his childhood and how he's always felt this way, I suppose.
Really? What did he say about that?
Well, apparently he's been cross-dressing for years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Starting from the...
I mean, to be honest, not that I knew much about Bruce Jenner before this.
Yeah, I didn't really either. I didn't even really know.
I knew he was an Olympic dude. I knew he was on the Wheaties box. I knew he was a Kardashian. That's all I knew.
Yeah, I knew that he was a guy, and now even that's been called into question.
Speaking of that, I remember years ago when I was a kid, Stan Lee did this interview on the DVD for the Incredible Hulk Returns, one of the live-action TV Hulk reunion movies where he fights Thor. And a very specific setup for this story, but anyway. Stan Lee was talking about the development of the show. And he was talking about how, like, you know, of course, he got into how he created the Hulk and the comic book history a little bit.
And how the show just completely deviates from that.
Well, that's what he got into. So he starts talking with the producers, and one of the 2 things that got brought up, the first 2 big things. One, Hulk can't speak, and Stan was like, oh yeah, don't do that. That was a huge mistake I made. Don't let the Hulk speak. So they were like, yeah, he's not going to speak. That's cool.
What, Stan Lee doesn't like Hulk smash? Nah.
Well, no, he said that, like, he just didn't know how to write it properly. So, anyway, that's a different subject altogether. But But the second thing was the name, Bruce Banner. And Stan was like, "What's the problem with Bruce Banner?" And the producer was like...
A question that I have asked for years. What the fuck is wrong with Bruce Banner?
Many people have asked, what is wrong with Bruce Banner? And having just read Old Man Logan for the first time, I continue to ask, more so, what the fuck is wrong with Bruce Banner? Anyway, because Hulk eats Wolverine. Anyway, I hate that.
Sweet.
Anyway, so, moving on, back to the story.
The Hulk as portrayed by Mike Myers. Get in my belly. Nah.
Oh, I don't even want to think about it. It's a disturbing scene. And then the scene where Wolverine escapes this death trap is even more disturbing.
How does he chew through those adamantium bones?
I don't know. I don't want to know.
I mean, I know he's the Hulk, but Jesus.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't want to know. Anyway, so Stan Lee gets into like they wanted to change the name, and he's like, why can't it just be Bruce Banner? And the producer goes, well, Stan, it sounds a little gay. And he goes, what do you mean it sounds gay? And he goes, yeah, the name Bruce sounds a little gay. And he's like, what are you talking about?
Take that back, asshole. Batman's a Bruce.
That was part of the thing. That's part of the reason why he said it sounded gay. Was because of, what the hell's that guy's name? The guy who wrote the book Seduction of the Innocent, the kind of, the book that was like put out a witch hunt on comic books.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the propagating arguments of that book was that Batman made kids gay because of his relationship with Robin. And because of the tights they wear.
That's not necessarily gay. It's more of a pedophile thing than anything.
Well, listen, Dylan, I don't think we're gonna fucking debate the stupidity of Seduction of the Innocent. I think that debate ended about 40 years ago. But that was part of the reason. I think that's why they were trying to avoid the name Bruce.
So stupid.
Oh, I'm not gonna fucking argue that. Here's the part where it gets hilarious because of that and what he says in the interview. He says, "But what are you talking about? The name Bruce isn't gay. I mean, listen, there's Bruce Jenner, the athlete.
Oh.
He's not. He's the manliest of the men you can get." And I'm like,
oh, he's the manliest woman.
And I'm like, that is fucking amazing. Oh, Stan Lee, I hope he's watching that news like, Excelsior! I was wrong.
Didn't see that coming.
Absolutely not. Anyway, so that's the Bruce Jenner talk. Dylan, there's a couple things I want to discuss tonight, but one of the
Bruce
things
Jenner
that
talk.
the Bruce Jenner talk.
Parents across the nation are having the Bruce Jenner talk. Their daughter, when their little 4-year-old daughter comes in the room and says, "Mommy, what's a transsexual?"
Well, honey, when a man wants to become a woman very much,
they cut off his penis. What's a penis? Oh, God.
Oh, no. Anyway, so Dylan, a bunch of trailers came out last week that we didn't get to talk about because of when we recorded the show.
Yeah.
It came out after the Star Wars trailer, and it's shit that we're interested in. And it's also, so I want to start with Batman vs. Superman. Here's why. In last week's episode, you mentioned, oh my god, there's a trailer for Batman vs. Superman, and I shot you down immediately like, yeah, I saw it, it sucks.
It's fucking awful.
I want to clarify, because nobody called me out on this, but I'm shocked they didn't, because of like how much kind of shit got talked about that trailer. But I wasn't talking about the teaser trailer that got released, the official one. I was talking about the leaked version of it that got released, where you couldn't fucking see shit. And I didn't get to see the full trailer until the next day. So we didn't get the chance to talk about it on any podcast, and we didn't mention it on an SOS that we just did. So I wanted to talk about it now. So Dylan, Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice trailer. One of the most hyped and anticipated films in the upcoming couple of years. Kind of controversial because nobody likes Man of Steel except for me. And when I say I like Man of Steel, I say I like parts of Man of Steel. I have huge problems with that movie.
Yeah,
but
I feel the same way, man.
That
stupid liquid metal looking thing should have been Brainiac. Why the fuck didn't they? Nah.
That's the biggest problem with Man of Steel.
No, that was just the thing that pissed me off.
It's not the fucking crappy writing. It's not the fucking dull-ass characters. It's not the fact that Superman murders people. It's the fact that they didn't make that guy Brainiac.
It just fucking pissed me off, because when I saw that thing, I was like, oh shit, it's Brainiac finally. I've been waiting my whole fucking life for Brainiac to be in a fucking Superman movie.
Oh, you will get it in Justice League. They're gonna either do a Brainiac or Darkseid.
The closest fucking thing I've gotten is fucking Superman 3. I've been waiting my entire fucking life.
Yeah, and that's not exactly gonna satisfy you.
I've been waiting my entire fucking life for Brainiac to be in a movie. And when I saw that thing, I was like, oh shit, Brainiac. And then Jor-El's wife, whatever the fuck her name is again.
Laura.
Yeah, that is a stupid fucking name for an alien. I know chicks named Laura.
Lara, Lara.
It's just a,
which is also a human name.
It's just a lazy fucking way of spelling Laura. Anyway.
And I should know, my mom's name is Laura.
Anyway, she looks at the thing that that I thought was Brainiac. She's like,
it has some name, I forget.
She calls it Kiddo or something like that, and I'm like,
its name is not Kiddo. There's some name.
Whatever she called it, I'm like,
and there's a male and a female one.
Fuck you, Zack Snyder.
Well, it's probably David Goyer's choice, but we can say fuck him too.
Fuck everyone associated.
So speaking of Goyer, he ain't on this movie anymore. He got kicked off this movie. Which, on one hand, I'm like, I like David Goyer, but I think a lot of why Man of Steel was so problematic was because of his lackluster writing. That's my opinion. And here's why. I don't think Zack Snyder is very good at shooting a bad script. There are directors who can shoot a bad script.
Example?
Spielberg, for me, can shoot a bad script and make it watchable.
What's an example of a bad script you think he shot?
Indiana Jones 4.
Oh, right, yeah.
And listen, I'm a huge defender. I'm a huge defender of that movie. I know everybody fucking hates it, but I think that Spielberg did the absolute best he could to make that movie watchable. And again, I think the first half hour of that movie is watchable.
There are also examples of where somebody can do a decent job of filming a shitty script, but the script is so shitty that it still outweighs it.
There's just to give one more example, there's a lot of people in Hollywood who are like, one of the worst scripts ever written that got filmed and was successful and was a good movie was the script for the first Beverly Hills Cop movie. The script was horrible. Everything that works about that movie was the director, Eddie Murphy, and I'm like, that's so fucking true.
Well, look at the fucking the Star Wars prequels. They look fine, but the script is so fucking shitty.
Well, here's my point.
Way to do a technically great job filming the damn thing, but have the script be so bad that it doesn't matter. You can't make up.
I think that's debatable too. I think some of the set design in those movies is a little off.
Set design.
Mm-hmm.
Example.
All the stuff in the Jedi the Jedi Temple. I think it's really bland.
It's clean.
No, not only is it clean, but I just think it doesn't look like, I don't know, when I imagine the Jedi Temple, I imagine something a little bit more kind of like monastery looking, and it looks like a fucking office building.
Oh.
Anyway, so let's not get on the Star Wars prequels. We talked about Star Wars last week. We're done with Star Wars. So let's talk about Batman vs. Superman.
Needs more Star Wars? No,
I loved the trailer.
I still haven't watched it.
You haven't watched it yet? Dylan, what the fuck? It's one of the biggest things that happened in the past 2 weeks. How the fuck did you not watch it? I am fucking outraged right now, people. I just popped the blood vessel. I just popped a fucking blood vessel. How'd you not watch it? It was fucking everywhere.
I don't know, man. I was gonna, but then I didn't.
You were the one on DFOS last week that was like, oh, the Batman vs. Superman trailer.
I know. I was gonna fucking watch it, and then, shit happened.
Watch it now.
Watch it now.
Yeah, I'll rewatch it too. I'll cut this out.
Where the fuck is it?
I'll send you a link. It's not that hard to find. You just have to type in Batman, and it'll probably come up.
No, it's too much.
I'll fucking find it for you. You. I fucking hate you, Dylan.
I was waiting for the moment in this conversation where I would get to tell you that I hadn't watched it yet.
I hate you, Dylan.
As soon as you were like, so let's talk about Batman vs. Superman, I was like, oh.
I thought you'd seen it, man.
You never asked me if I'd seen it.
I thought you... Oh, that's the German version. It's called Daredevil versus Spider-Man, Dawn of Avengers.
Oh, wonderful. Is Gorgo in it?
Gorgo makes a brief cameo, yes. Where is it?
Does Jesse Eisenberg play Dr. Frankenstein?
Oh my god, these stupid fucking Geico commercials.
Which one?
I hate this. The one where it's like, you can't skip this Geico commercial because it's already over. And I'm like, fuck you.
Fuck you, Geico.
Don't fucking rub it in my face, you asshole.
Don't be a fucking prick, Geico.
Just because I have to watch your stupid fucking ad, it doesn't mean that you should rub it in my fucking face.
Just because you're...
You slut!
Just because you're no longer the fastest and easiest way to save 15% or more.
God damn it!
Doesn't mean you have to...
Now I gotta watch one again because I clicked back. You piece of shit, I hate you! Damn it! Alright, here we go. Here's the link, Dylan.
What's with just the V?
I don't know. I think there's a theory amongst the fans that the V is supposed to represent that Batman is kind of, figuratively speaking, of course, putting Superman on trial. In that he's kind of taking him to task for some of the stuff he did wrong in Man of Steel and for what he's going to do in this movie. Now, before I give you my theory about what this movie is about, because a lot of people are like, a lot of really diehard Superman fans, including me, up to before I saw the trailer, were really worried that this movie was just going to be Zack Snyder jerking off because he loves Batman and shoving Superman into the fucking dirt. And I know that there are some people out there, some people we're friends with, who'd be huge fans of that. Yeah. But I wouldn't be. I'm a huge Superman fan. Some days I can't pick out which one I like more, Batman or Superman.
That's going a bit far, but
No, for me personally, I know you probably don't feel that way. I'm a huge Superman fan. I was into Superman before I was into Batman.
Really?
Yes. So, I mean, I have huge nostalgia for my mom showing me the Christopher Reeve movies when I was a kid. And Batman wasn't that long afterwards when I started watching TAS, but I've always been a huge Superman fan. I get why some people don't like him. I totally understand that. I just do. So,
my problems with Superman are primarily, from a narrative perspective, there are sometimes difficulties when you make a character too powerful, just like at the baseline level.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And listen, I think sometimes that happens with Godzilla, though, too.
Yeah, it can happen.
But I think the thing what I find so interesting about Superman is that he's this really pretty much normal guy who happens to have these godlike powers, and now he has to figure out what he's supposed to do with them. And he's trying to kind of embody, like, okay, here's somebody who has this kind of power, here's the ideal version of that person, and that's what I build into becoming Superman. That's my favorite version, where he himself is not the perfect do-no-wrong Boy Scout who flies around saving people with a smile and never does anything wrong. My ideal Superman is Clark Kent trying to become that guy. And trying to always be that guy. That's why I love Superman so much. Because watching someone struggle to do that, not only is it really interesting, I just find it really endearing. Somebody who tries so hard every day to be the best that they can be. And that's the message of Superman, is that just because he's got powers doesn't mean... All that means is that that's what he has to do. Because he has these powers, he has the responsibility to be that light, to be that person. But you can do the same thing, obviously just differently. So Superman kind of teaches, people and in a very inspiring way, and of course versions fuck this up, that you have a responsibility to wake up every day and try and be the best person that you can be.
Yeah, if your school bus goes into that lake, you just pull it right out.
Yeah, that's what I find fascinating about Superman, is that kind of debate of, well, what can I do with these powers, and what can I do, and then what should I do? And that is why I love this trailer so much, because that's what this movie's going to be about.
All right, immediately, really weird problem.
Okay, go ahead.
I wish the first shot they had shown me of Ben Affleck had been him in the Batsuit.
Really? I'm kind of glad we got to see him as Bruce Wayne first. I'll tell you why in a minute.
Because when I see him out of the Batsuit, I don't see Bruce Wayne. I see Ben fucking Affleck. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. I actually like that. And I'll tell you why. Frank Miller Batman is not my Batman. And I think that's kind of like... I don't think Frank Miller ever intended that version of Batman to be the end-all be-all version of Batman. Like, part of the point with Dark Knight Returns is that it was an out-of-continuity Elseworlds tale that was supposed to be making a social point using an older Batman. If you listen to him in interviews, he's always like, I don't really like that Batman became some people's end-all be-all version, because it was never intended to be that. I love Dark Knight Returns, but only in the sense of, it is a fantastic story. As a Batman story, it's not my Batman. You know what I mean? Because he's a different, because of his age and because of the world that Frank Miller wrote him in, he's different, and that's fine. But part of my reservation with bringing what appears to be that Batman into the DC Cinematic Universe is that he's kind of written... Frank Miller has been criticized as, like, he writes Batman as being, like, just fucking kind of the end-all... He writes Batman as, like, Batman can do anything, and anything he does, regardless of how horrible or how crazy, is totally fine. And that was part of the point of Miller's novel, is that, well, he's kind of crazy. I don't think everybody who reads Dark Knight Returns understands that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's my Dark Knight Returns rant. That's part of why I really didn't want to see that version of Batman on screen. Too late. We're getting that, apparently. Just look at the Batsuit. And the ending shot of the trailer. That's right out of Dark Knight Returns. But anyway, Dylan, so what did you think, aside from... So that's kind of why I like seeing Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne first, because I don't know why, but that kind of makes... Because the other thing about that version of Batman is that he's just not very human to me. Mm-hmm. He's very, very, kind of reserved and very cold and very, very, crazy. So seeing Ben Affleck first kind of made me go, okay, I know we're not going to get that exactly. He looks human. He looks, logical. He looks like Bruce Wayne to me. And in the Batsuit, he looks fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wish I had seen him in the Batsuit first, because, like I said,
Fair enough.
I don't really see Bruce Wayne. I see Ben Affleck, and I still kind of needed to be sold on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm still not entirely sold. We're gonna get he's gonna be the end all be all Batman.
No.
We'll have to wait for the movie, but visually, he's perfect.
Yeah. The suit looks fine. I've always said this.
Is that your favorite on-screen Batsuit, or is it still Michael Keaton?
Probably still Michael Keaton for this reason. I like my bat ears to be a little bit longer than this. That's always something that
me too.
That I haven't liked about the Dark Knight Returns Batman
me neither.
And other Batmans of that ilk. I like the ears to be a certain length that all the other on-screen Batmans have pretty much nailed.
I think they got a little bit too close to short ears in Dark Knight and Rises, but still not too much.
Yeah. And you can also go too long with the ears, like that comic where he's a vampire, or
Long Halloween,
or Justice League Unlimited sometimes.
Yeah, no, definitely. This is the closest comic book Batsuit we've seen in a movie. Obviously, I think the Adam West Batsuit is kind of the most comic book accurate Batsuit we've ever seen, and that it's pretty much the suit of that time just put on screen.
Right. I'm glad to finally have the gray.
Yeah, me too, absolutely.
That's something that
I'm glad that we finally have a Batsuit where you can see the bat symbol clearly. That was my huge problem with the Begins and Dark Knight suit.
Do you think that Iron Man suit type thing that he's wearing at the end looks a bit silly?
I mean, it's right out of Dark Knight Returns, though. That's part of the thing, is that they're kind of taking a lot of the iconography from Batman from Dark Knight Returns and throwing it into this movie and having him fight Superman.
I don't know, it looks a little weird to me. It doesn't look... from an effect standpoint, not from a design standpoint. From an
effect standpoint, I think that Well, so I think also that might not be the finished scene.
Yeah, I'm hoping not, because before I watched this trailer over the weekend, I saw like news articles about it or whatever, and I saw the still image of that, and the first time I saw it, I thought, why are they showing me a picture from Beware the Batman? And I was like, oh.
I like that we finally have the white eyes.
True.
I love that.
Now, if he can do that squinting thing like Kevin Conroy Batman, that would.
Well, I doubt we'll see that. But I'm all for it. I think that well, the other thing you got to remember is that sequence is from the Comic-Con teaser footage, so I don't think it's from the movie.
Right.
I think it was shot specifically for that trailer footage. I think it's going to be different. I mean, this was even different from the Comic-Con footage because there was no bat signal in it.
Right.
So we'll see. But I also think that it's cool because we're finally going to get some more kind of over-the-top comic book iconography in this universe.
I mean, listen, it's cool just to see Batman and Superman on screen at the same time, live action.
Yeah, that is enough for me too.
That's a really fucking cool thing. To see that in live action. Obviously, we've had that before elsewhere, but
right.
Seeing them interact is going to be great.
But I'm so concerned they're gonna fuck it up so bad.
Now, is this Suicide Squad movie that's coming out next year? It's in continuity with all this shit, right?
Everything they're doing is in the DC Cinematic Universe.
Okay, that makes sense because this Bat.
Oh, we have to talk about Jared Leto too, but we'll talk about that after this.
I was about to say that makes sense because this is a Batman who's obviously been established and been on the job a bit longer, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I think he's been Batman for about 20 years.
So it would make sense for the Joker to have already been incarcerated and then get drafted to the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's going to be a member of the Suicide Squad. I think he's going to be the villain of that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I could be totally wrong, but that's what I've been hearing is that he's not going to be part of the squad. That he's going to be the villain of that movie.
Well, he's in the squad in the fucking book, isn't he?
No, he's the villain.
Oh.
A lot of the times.
Oh.
Yeah, he's never, to my knowledge, been an actual member of the Suicide Squad. Harley Quinn has.
I see.
But again, I could be wrong. I'm not a big Suicide Squad guy. But he was the villain of that Assault on Arkham movie that came out. And that movie is kind of part of the reason why this got greenlit, because it got such a good reception from fans. Because it was basically a Suicide Squad movie.
With Batman.
With Batman in the title, even though they only got like 3 lines. You think Joker's going to be in Batman v Superman? I think he's probably going to have a cameo.
If they did that, that'd be cool.
I think he's probably going to have I think it would only make sense to at least establish. If not, I hope that they have Batman at least in a little bit of the Suicide Squad movie. Because it would be weird to establish Batman in one movie and then Joker in another and not have them cross over at all yet. I mean, that could be kind of cool, but then have them battle in the next Batman solo movie. God knows when we're going to get that.
Yeah.
I wonder who they're going to have direct that too, because Snyder is going to probably keep up. I think Snyder's doing Justice League and the Man of Steel sequel. As in the next solo Superman movie. So I wonder who they're going to get to direct the solo Batman movie. Who would you want to see?
Well, obviously they're going to get Joel Schumacher because.
Yeah, definitely. They got a tight Batsuit again. I was thinking like
Batfleck needs bat nipples. That's all I'm saying.
I was thinking maybe Affleck could direct too. That might be kind of cool.
Oh, was that him talking at the end of the trailer?
Yeah, but there's a lot of debate about that.
Because he's doing a little bit of that growly thing that Christian Bale was doing. And I'm like, eh.
Well, you got to remember that in that sequence he's wearing a big robot suit.
True.
So his voice is probably being modulated. But when I heard that, I didn't think it was Ben Affleck, because I'm like, that sounds nothing like Ben Affleck.
I was like, yeah, it didn't really sound like him, but.
Then again, he did a gravelly Christian Bale thing for his Daredevil performance, too.
True.
So we might see that with his Batman as well. I don't know.
I'm the blind guy, not that the city deserves. But the one that I need.
Have you watched Daredevil yet? The Netflix show? Let me guess, no.
No.
Piece of shit.
Probably not.
Oh, you gotta watch it, Dylan. It's so fucking good.
I know, and I said I was going to watch it after I finished Louis, but then I didn't.
It's all good, man. Just watch it. It's fucking great. Anyway, so the thing we kind of alluded to before that we didn't get to talk about yet is this movie is kind of about finding out Superman's limits through his encounters with Batman. And I think that's a good idea that could lead to a really kind of bad movie, in that I feel like there's a chance here that the people making the movie don't have the chops to tell that story properly. You know what I mean? Because first things first, their version of Superman isn't even kind of established yet. Right? Because in Man of Steel, he's barely even kind of Superman by the end.
I mean, obviously enough time has gone by, though, that they were able to fucking rebuild Metropolis.
Well, there's scaffolding and cranes in the background, though.
Okay, well...
Also, why the fuck... Captain Logan asked this in his video about this. Why the fuck did they build a statue? Is that because of his part in the battle against Zod? If so, that's kind of a weak reason to build a fucking statue. Doesn't that usually only happen when somebody's dead?
Yeah.
Including Superman in the fucking comics?
Including Batman?
Batman and Superman
presumed
didn't get statues until after they both died.
Presumed dead, anyway.
No, with both of them, because they both came back recently after that.
Fucking Zilla Jr.
Zilla Jr. didn't get a statue until after he was dead.
Now comparing Superman to Zilla Jr.
Does Captain America have a statue in the MCU, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Well, he's got
the museum.
He's got the museum exhibits.
Alright, so I guess that's close enough.
An inept guard played by Stan Lee.
Oh man, I am so fired. I'm like, why do they have like an 85-year-old guarding this museum?
Because he was there!
With weapons, active weapons inside of it, including Captain America's fucking shield. I don't understand. Why would the actual shield be in there?
Oh, Stanley. Best inept guard
Isn't that a horrible idea to have his actual shield in there?
It's pretty bad, yeah.
Because it's fucking made of... It's like some of like the only vibranium on the planet. Anyway, it's a bad idea. So, back to the trailer. My big problem with the trailer, really one of my only problems, is like, alright, we have a really anti-Superman trailer. Fine. But let Superman fucking speak.
Well, maybe the next trailer will show his perspective on the issue.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even say we get Batman's perspective. He barely speaks too.
Right.
So, neither of the main characters of this fucking movie speak in the trailer.
It feels more like Luthor's perspective, to be honest.
Well, I think that's a lot. Well, okay, so let me get into this. Here's what I think this movie is going to be about. And if so, if this is it, this is pretty brilliant. So what I think this movie will be about is Lex Luthor will probably have a characterization close to what he has in the modern comics of he hates Superman because he sees Superman as a threat to human, not ingenuity, but human kind of independence and human ambition. But that kind of contradicts what I fucking said about Superman earlier, though, so... That's part of the thing with Lex Luthor, though, is that he sees that as Superman, but Superman's like, yo, that's not my point at all. That's not what I'm trying to do, yo.
Yo.
Because that's how Superman talks.
He's all street and shit.
Yeah, he's all fucking... Well, based on Superman's design and convergence, I wouldn't be surprised if he was fucking going around saying yo and bro.
Yo, I'm Superman, bitches.
Yo, I'm Superfrat man, yo.
Superfrat man.
Superfrat.
Sounds like Super Fat Man.
He looks like he gained a couple pounds in that fucking convergence footage. No, not footage, in those convergence panels.
The footage.
Late, fuck you.
They're making a movie out of this already?
God, I hope not. Everything I've heard about convergence is it's fucking horrible.
The next from the DCAU.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. So, anyway, so I think that's Lex Luthor's, like, he's gonna have that from the comics, and based on the little bit of narration we get from him in this trailer where he goes, we know better now, don't we? Devils don't come from the ground beneath us, they come from the sky above. And that he's going to use the fears people already have about Superman, which is illustrated in all the different news snippets and people shouting.
Almost reminds me a little bit of that fucking line from the opening of Pacific Rim. Where he's like, when alien life came to Earth, it came from beneath the sea.
Yeah. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And he's going to use that and maybe use some big mistake that's... I mean, he made a big enough mistake at the end of Man of Steel. But maybe he'll use something to try and get everybody to go after Superman. Try and frame him for something, which would be a very Lex Luthor thing to do. Is try and frame Superman for something.
Yeah.
Try and frame him for some big tragedy. Because I think there's a line in the trailer where somebody screams, "He's out of control!" And I'm like, what is he doing? What is Superman doing that he's out of control?
He drank all the beer.
He drank all the beer. He's turned into a super alcoholic.
He's Superfrat man.
Superfrat man. And I think that Lex is going to try and use that to make Superman look even worse than he already does to the general public. I also find it hilarious that Neil deGrasse Tyson in the trailer seems to be anti-Superman. He seems like based on like what I've heard, how I've heard him talk in reality, he's like, oh yeah, Superman's cool. That was really funny. Did you know that was his voice talking? Where somebody goes, we're talking about a being, an alien, that threatens our very sense of priority on this planet. That's Neil deGrasse Tyson talking.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I didn't find out until later. I thought that was cool. So I think that's the plot, is that Lex is going to try and frame Superman for something. Batman will then go after Superman because of this thing that he gets framed for. They'll fight. Superman will then have to prove his innocence to the world and Batman, and then together they'll stop Lex's plot. That's what I think it's about. Based on this trailer, based on every other version of Batman and Superman's first interaction ever. That's always what the fucking plot is. Lex does something to piss off Superman. Superman does something to get back at Lex that pisses off Batman. They fight. They realize they're kind of on the same side. They team up. They stop Lex. Everybody goes home, and they still don't really like each other that much.
Joker steals a green dragon that turns out to be made of kryptonite.
Right, exactly. He turns into pudding.
Mercy and Harley have a strangely arousing catfight. Right,
exactly. Joker will look like Mickey Mouse. No, he debatably looks worse in this universe. We'll talk about that in a minute. So that's what I think.
Hey, say what you want about the new Jared Leto look. At least he has the red lips.
All right, well, we'll get into that in a second. So what do you think of this whole, if that's the plot? Would you be down for that?
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
So what are your perceptions of all this? Are you any more excited than you were, or are you kind of equally just kind of indifferent, as you always are with everything? What was your reaction?
I don't feel that much differently about it than I did before. Nah.
And how did you feel about it before?
I mean, I'm gonna fucking watch it.
Yeah. It visually looks great. It looks gorgeous.
I don't have any theories or anything to put forth.
I wonder how Wonder Woman and Aquaman are going to play into all this.
They're going to be really contrived.
Oh, I don't know, Dylan. I'm not sure about all that.
I mean, it seems like this movie is trying to throw everything in the kitchen sink in. Yeah. Which can work, but it hasn't. I mean, look at Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the big example, yeah. We're going to set up every single potential thing for the Spider-Man expanded universe. Half a year later, we're canceling the Amazing Spider-Man universe.
Because it turns out that making a movie like that fucking sucks. And it turns out that when your movie fucking sucks, you can't make another one.
They could have, but it just probably would have made less money. And it wouldn't have been able to support a cinematic universe. Just the whole idea of a Spider-Man cinematic universe is fucking dumb to me. I'm just like, Spider-Man is already one part of an expanded universe.
Yeah.
So, also watching Daredevil, I could tell that they were really hurting not having any of the Spider-Man iconography to throw in there. Because you didn't have the Daily Bugle, you didn't have, so like they had to use this other newspaper, the New York Bulletin, which I think is also in the comics, but they I think in most versions Ben Urich works for the Daily Bugle, so they weren't able to have him do that because of when it was shot. Now they can. So they'll probably have the Daily Bugle and some more of the Spider-Man stuff in Season 2. Which is awesome, because I love Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin, so I'm hoping they'll have him and Daredevil team up to fight him at some point in like maybe the series or one of the Spider-Man movies.
They should make they should fucking do a Spider-Man show, spin it out. Like fucking...
Oh, I would prefer a Spider-Man show over another franchise, but it's not gonna fucking happen.
Like fucking what's an example of this? Shit, and I had one. Like how they spun Flash out of Arrow. Yeah.
That would be fantastic. I mean, they'd just be doing another series in the MCU. They're doing a whole bunch of those now. I just think that their whole thing is like Spider-Man is way too prosperous to just put on TV. We have to put him in the movie theaters because that's where people expect to see him.
Well, you could pull him out for the Avengers flick.
Well, that's what they're doing with Daredevil. He's going to be in Infinity War.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, which is bizarre. Whenever you eventually watch the series, you'll see like, how is this guy going to like fight aliens and shit? Not because he's like underpowered. Like Daredevil in the comics fights aliens all the time and teams up with the Avengers and everything and Hulk and everything, but like just how gritty that show is, it's like it's going to be weird. Though, did I tell you like how brilliant like the way they connect Daredevil to the event of Avengers is? It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, you told me about all that shit.
Oh, it's so brilliant. Anyway, so Dylan, Batman vs Superman. I'm pumped. I think this could be really good. I think that there's a high chance that it might suck, but I think there's also a high chance that it could really kick off. It could really set the DC Cinematic Universe in a better, more positive direction than Man of Steel started it.
What you basically just said is this movie's either going to be good or it's going to be bad.
Pretty much. I don't know which one, but I'm excited to find out. Let's talk about Jared Leto as the Joker and talk about how they're not going in a great direction. What are your thoughts?
I don't hate it.
Okay.
I think that the grills are a bit much.
I hate the grills so much.
It's literally pretty much my only big complaint. If it wasn't for the grills, other than that, I like the idea behind it. We've had, the classic kind of Jokers. We've had homegrown terrorist Joker with Heath Ledger, and now they're going in like an urban, like street Joker type of look.
I described it to somebody somewhere as punk rock Joker.
Yeah, I've seen that description made.
It's very punk rock Joker.
I've seen a lot of people compare him to Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, I think that's apt.
I don't know if Marilyn Manson wears grills, but
it wouldn't surprise me if he did. I think it has the potential to be really stupid. Again, it could be awesome, but it just doesn't look like the Joker to me.
He's got green hair.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like he looks like a member of fucking Slipknot, not the fucking Joker.
Mm.
It's just all the tattoos and the fucking grills and the rings and shit. He just looks like he looks like a member of Slipknot to me. He doesn't look like the Joker to me.
Well,
he does have the green hair though, and he does have the bleached skin, which they did confirm that this version's going to have bleached skin, not makeup.
And I like the use of the pose from The Killing Joke.
Well, are we talking about the same thing? Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, you're right. Yes.
Yes. Here's the thing about the Joker.
Yeah, it's that shot of him right after he gets after he takes off the Red Hood helmet.
Here's the thing about the Joker. A lot of people had similar complaints to the ones you're saying when they saw what Heath Ledger was going to look like.
Very true, and I absolutely accept that.
The thing about the Joker is, for me, it's all about getting the character right, writing him correctly. As long as you write him correctly, I'm okay with you playing around with the way he looks. Aside from Jamaican Joker.
I got over that, because I like that voice.
The voice was alright, but...
And I think that could happen here. I could easily be made to accept this design if Jared Leto was brilliant. And, I mean, just based on the devotion he clearly has to playing the character, given how much he had to modify his look to look like this, I think he's pretty devoted. And I think he kind of had to be in order to even kind of follow up what Heath Ledger went through, because holy shit, Heath Ledger went through a fucking transformation.
Indeed.
And I think Jared Leto kind of had to do the same thing to play the Joker. Is kind of to follow that up. Does that mean he's going for an Oscar just because he's playing that role? I doubt it. I think it would be kind of dumb of them to go, oh, just because the Joker's going to be on our movie, that means that he'll win an Oscar. That's no. I hope that's not their mindset, because it's not going to fucking happen.
It's like, we're putting the Joker in our movie. Oscar gold.
Just because you have a character who was in an Oscar-winning movie does not mean that your movie is going to win an Oscar. I hope that's not their mindset, because again, if it is, it's dumb. But you know,
it's kind of like the thought of. It's similar to the way people like to get Oscar-winning actors and actresses and be like, we got this guy, and I'm like, it doesn't make that much difference.
Right. Dylan, what do you think of the different tattoos? So there's some that say ha 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 ha. There's a skull jester kind of fucking thing. He's got damaged tattooed on his forehead, which is my least favorite part of the whole fucking thing. I think that's dumb.
Yeah. He's kind of pulling his hairline back, so I'm thinking you won't see it that much.
But I still think it's stupid. It's like, okay, we get it. He's damaged because he's deranged. It's on his forehead. That's where his fucking thinking hole is.
His thinking hole.
His thinking hole.
Well, if you're going to be throwing around complex anatomical terms like thinking hole, then...
I hate the damage tattoo. The ha 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 ones I think are a little much as well, but I can live with those. The cards I can live with. The smile on the forearm, I don't know about that.
I don't mind the tattoos.
I don't know. There are versions of the Joker where he does have tattoos, but
I'm just glad he doesn't have like a fucking leather face mask stapled to his face.
Yeah, you were really against that thing, weren't you? Because that's what they were going to do originally, I heard.
Yeah.
They were going to do that version from New 52.
But they didn't go in that direction.
Yeah, that would have been kind of stupid. Especially without the build up to it.
Kind of stupid.
It's tired. I'm decreasing my hyperbole. I don't know. Again, if his performance is brilliant, I'll totally accept it. But when I first looked at this image, I had to look at the headlines to realize what I was looking at. I didn't think this was the Joker when I first looked at it. I was like, oh, what is that weird punk rocker doing? And then I was like, oh. I'm gonna go cut myself. So you like it more than I do, I think.
That's one improportionate response that you could have to the design.
Somebody just wrote fail on this guy's timeline.
Who?
Somebody just wrote fail on the guy who posted, the director of the movie, when he posted the picture on Twitter.
Oh.
Somebody just wrote fail. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I completely agree, but I'm not sold on it yet. It all depends on the dude's performance. So yeah, Dylan, that's the DC Cinematic Universe update. But speaking of trailers, there's one more I wanted to talk about before we move on. Let's talk about Jurassic World.
Right.
Did you see the new trailer?
I did see this trailer.
Thank fucking God! I was gonna say, if you didn't watch this fucking Jurassic World trailer...
no, man, so I didn't think it was that important.
What'd you think of the Global trailer?
I'm a little worried.
As am I. Okay, why are you worried?
I'm worried because the first trailer felt like a Jurassic Park movie.
Yes, it did.
The new trailer feels more like an action movie to me.
Yes, it does. And I ain't having that shit. Because my least favorite part of all three Jurassic Park movies are the parts where it's an action movie. Obviously, it's Jurassic Park. It's dinosaurs. There's gonna be action. But big machine guns and missiles firing at Indominus Rex, that's not Jurassic Park to me.
That last shot, though, of fucking the mosasaur biting the pterosaur.
No, my favorite shot was the Indominus Rex running away from the explosion as it came through the top of the aviary,
yeah.
Which I'm finally happy we're going to get the aviary in this, because that's in the first book.
Yeah, and it only appears in fucking Jurassic Park 3, and it's not even on Isla Nublar.
Yeah, and it's briefly, and it's not, and it's a little different because it seems more like a containment cage.
Oh God, it's a bird cage.
Also,
for what?
Yeah. Also, question.
And I'm like, you're on Jurassic Park. What the fuck do you think it's for?
Also, question. All right, so it's a bird. It's for the pteranodons. Why? Why do they have that?
To keep the pteranodons in.
But okay, so like.
If you put them in a normal cage, they'll fly away.
No.
And if you keep them indoors, they can't fly.
But they don't put the other dinosaurs in cages, or do they?
And what's the point of having a pteranodon if they can't fly around some for the tourists' delight?
Yeah, but Isla Sorna. You're saying my problem. Isla Sorna wasn't for the tourists.
They're not on Isla Sorna. Oh,
yes,
you're asking what it's for in Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah. I'm talking about Isla Sorna.
Oh.
I thought that was dumb because I'm like, why is it so big? Because this island was designed with all the animals being fucking babies.
I think the idea was to keep the pterosaurs from just leaving.
Pteranodons. Pterosaurs are different. Well, I guess pterosaurs are the general term, right?
Yeah.
And pteranodons are one of the biggest members of that species.
Yeah.
Or that genus, rather. Fair enough. Okay.
Biggest known example of a pterosaur, as far as I know, is what do they call it? Quetzalcoatlus.
Quetzalcoatl, the fucking Aztec dragon legend?
No, there's one named after that. It's called like Quetzalcoatlus or some shit like that. It's named after the fucking Aztec dragon legend.
Right.
Thingy.
Yeah, but then the mosasaur biting the pteranodon was pretty awesome.
But the
more I see of the Indominus Rex, the more I'm excited about it. It looks pretty badass.
The problem, though, is that at the end of Jurassic Park 2, you see a pterosaur just flying around on Isla Sorna, totally free.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is that how the fuck did it get out?
Not in any fucking bird cage. There were no bird cage. There were no cages, period.
There were no fences either. There's a fence in Jurassic Park 3 as well.
Yeah, and Jeff Goldblum clearly says there's a second island with dinosaurs. Yeah, there's a second island with dinosaurs on it.
Dinosaurs.
No fences this time. And you want to send people in, on the ground.
Very few people on the ground, right?
And one of them's an eco-terrorist. He didn't know that yet, so I'm just throwing that in.
Who are these three lunatics you're going to try and con into this? Well, it was difficult to get them there. I had to use my checkbook to get them there. Anyway, Jurassic World Global trailer. Yeah, I'm worried about this movie, just because my whole problem with Jurassic Park 3 and why I will always say I prefer The Lost World over Jurassic Park 3, part of it is because I can tell the mindset behind the story concept of that movie is not the same as the first two, and it's not just because it's not based on anything written by Michael Crichton. I think that's part of why it kind of ended up that way, but I'm not saying that every single Jurassic Park movie has to have Michael Crichton's name on it. Obviously, that's impossible now.
The man is fucking dead.
Right. But I think that part of why I think The Lost World is almost indebatably, objectively better than Jurassic Park 3 is because it's a better science fiction film. Because it actually introduces some new ideas in the universe, it explores them. Does it explore them well? That's where the debate comes in. I think it does it better than some people do. I actually really like The Lost World.
I like it a lot.
I like it quite a bit. I like the book even more. I'm reading the book right now, The Lost World, and it's fucking great.
Do you have the thing that I had where you're actually enjoying the Lost World book a little bit better than the first book? I had this because I wasn't as attached to the second movie as I was the first, and so the differences didn't bother me as much.
Yeah, I would say so. It's also so radically different from the Lost World movie that it's almost like it's not even based on the same source material.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so, because I think The Lost World basically took the name of Michael Crichton's second book and then just did a sequel to Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and threw in a bunch of shit that they didn't get to use from the first book.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously takes the basic premise of like, okay, the name Isla Sorna is taken from the book, and the whole premise of, all right, Ian Malcolm is part of an expedition that goes back there, but the whole reason why he goes to the second island is completely different.
Also, the whole idea of there being a fucking second island in the first place, which is a pretty...
Right, that's taken from the book.
Which is a pretty big difference from the first book/movie. And, in the book continuity, now the only island with dinosaurs on it, because at the end of the first book, nuke it.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of, and we're kind of late into the podcast, but I think we can still do this. Part of the thing I wanted to do tonight was I just finished, I'm going to say rereading, but technically it was reading it for the first time, because I think when I read Jurassic Park all those years ago when I was younger, I don't think I read the whole book, because I didn't remember like half of the book. I don't think I read it through cover to cover. So I'm going to say this is kind of my first time having experienced Jurassic Park, the first book, cover to cover.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to kind of talk about it because I know Dylan's read it. I know you haven't read it recently, but I think you'll be pretty good with the details.
I reread the first few chapters a few months ago.
Okay. All right. So we'll have a little intellectual discussion. But before we get into that, let's finish up on Jurassic World trailer. It doesn't seem to be about the science fiction ideas as much as the reason why we're making this movie is because dinosaurs and brand recognition
Indeed.
equals money. And I'm like, all right, I get that, but I want some good science fiction as well as some good action. That's why I like the first two movies so much, is because it's a decent balance. First movie's obviously way better at it, but I think The Lost World kind of walks that line. Not as well, but it does walk that line. Jurassic Park 3 is like, science fiction, what's that?
We got adventure to do.
Yeah, we have exploring an island to do, an island that we already explored.
We're changing it a lot.
So...
Also, is there even a single stegosaur in Jurassic Park 3?
Yeah.
There is?
It's in the establishing wide shot of Isla Sorna, of the aerial shot where they fly over the island.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You see a couple stegosauruses there.
Because they made such a big deal in the second movie about having stegosauruses now.
Yeah, because Steven Spielberg said they got a lot of fan mail about, like, why the fuck didn't you have a stegosaurus in the first Jurassic Park movie?
Yeah, they added him by popular demand.
Yeah. And they weren't in much of it. I mean, they had a big set piece, and they looked awesome.
They did. A lot of babies in that movie. You had the baby stegosaur, and then later on you had a similar thing going on with the baby T-Rex, although the baby T-Rex obviously takes up quite a bit more screen time.
Of the plot, yeah. I'm really excited to get, because I'm only about 50 pages into The Lost World. I'm really excited to get to the raptors, because I'm waiting for them to explain all the problems I had with them in the movie. Because based on what I did when I did research about the Lost World book, when I did my Jurassic Park reviews, like they explain why they act differently in the book.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, there's a reason why these raptors are like antisocial.
Yeah, they're why they're not as intelligent, because of something about ecology or about the way the ecosystem is kind of divided. They're just different. But also the raptors in the second movie, their color scheme is way closer to how they're described in the first book.
Yeah, I noticed.
The way the way Michael Crichton, because Jurassic Park was written by John Hammond.
Of course.
Spared no expense. Michael Crichton describes them as being kind of like very light brown with yellow stripes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how they look in the second movie. That's not how they look in the first. They're more gray with black stripes in the first movie. So that's different.
Which interesting difference, if I remember correctly. That sick Triceratops in the first movie. That's a stegosaur in the book, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's a stegosaurus.
It's so strange that he changed that only to then get fan mail saying, "Why the fuck is there a stegosaurus?" They
cut a lot of the Stan Winston's animatronic dinosaurs out of both the first and second movie.
Mm-hmm.
Partially, well, the first movie was because they cut them out because they didn't need them. The second movie was because a lot of the time Steven Spielberg was like, "Now let's do it digitally." Because the thing people forget about Jurassic Park 1 is, like, that was the beginning of big CGI creatures.
Yeah. They
obviously, it wasn't the first time. That was debatably T2, but it was the first major time.
He did that a lot more in the second movie.
Yeah, there's a lot more CGI. The Stegosauruses were supposed to be practical, and they built the practical Stegosauruses, but Steven Spielberg was like, part of the problem with shooting practical dinosaurs is that I can't play around with the angles when I go out to shoot. Every single time I have to shoot them, it's got to be storyboarded. And the problem with that is that I can't be kind of free with my camera moves. So when I go out and shoot the dinosaurs, I want to kind of be free. So doing it digitally actually gave him more freedom. So
yeah,
that's why he did it. And I think the CGI in The Lost World is not as well integrated as the first movie because there's more of it.
Yeah.
But
especially the daylight stuff.
Yeah, that stuff doesn't look as good. Like the Stegosauruses look okay because they're kind of in this misty haze.
Everything at night looks great though.
When oh my god, the T-Rex is attacking the trailers looks amazing.
And Steven Spielberg said, now that people know what these dinosaurs look like, he wanted to play around with like backlighting them more instead of having them. Because in the first movie, it's all they're lit from the front, so you can see what these motherfucking things look like.
Yeah, they're he did much more of his of the lighting he did in Indiana Jones on the first movie, and then the second movie is more like what he did in fucking Schindler's List.
Which he was making alongside the first movie.
That story where he's like, I think I went insane in post on Jurassic Park and in production on Schindler's List. Because making those two movies at the same time was like, my brain is hurting.
He should write a book about that year. He can call it Dinosaurs and Nazis.
Oh my god, that sounds badass.
Dinosaurs and Nazis. The Steven Spielberg story. Of 1993.
That would pretty much describe his whole career. Indiana Jones, you got Nazis and Schindler's List, and a lot of his historical dramas covered dinosaurs. Obviously covered the Jurassic Park movies.
Jaws is a shark, which has been around since dinosaurs.
It's before dinosaurs, my friend.
A stretch, but
Yeah, no, it works. No, in that it doesn't at all. So
it works in that it does not work.
So just to wrap up on the Jurassic World trailer, do you are you any less excited to see the movie than you were, or are you just worried that it's not going to be as good as the initial teaser trailer promised?
No, I'm all in. I'm going to see this fucking movie.
Oh yeah, I'm pumped. I'm just not as convinced it's going to be as good as I thought it was. Because that first trailer really impressed me with how close it seemed tonally to the first movie.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing that happened with the second Terminator trailer. It's no longer.
Oh god, what a horrible trailer!
It's no longer the movie that I thought it was. I'm still going to see the fucking thing.
Are we going to see it when you come up here?
I think that was the plan.
Alright, I'm going to be so miserable. I'm at the editor just like, this movie fucking sucks.
We're looking at the fucking like release dates for this year, and there was nothing else like coming out around that time, so.
No, it's all good. We'll see Terminator Genesis.
Genesis. It might not be that bad.
We'll see. I'm not convinced yet.
The problem with that trailer is they revealed...
Especially after that trailer. What is up with the Terminator movies, man? Stop fucking spoiling who the Terminator is.
Here's the thing. If there turns out to be a second twist that's even bigger, it'll be fine. But
holy shit, that's a big fucking spoiler.
They tried to do that in Terminator Salvation. Oh, we'll let you know that Marcus Wright's a Terminator. But did you know that Helena Bottam Carter is Skynet? And I'm like, the other spoiler was better. You should.
Well, she's not, because Skynet just takes her facial form to fuck with Sam Worthington. Because I don't fucking remember what his character name is. God forbid.
Because to fuck with Sam Worthington.
Yes, that's the sentence I chose to say. Deal with it.
Wonderful grammar here on.
Thank you.
Wonderful grammar in that it is not.
Probably not. So I don't know what's up with the Terminator movies and spoiling. Like, wouldn't you think Terminator? One of the coolest parts of it would be to like do a reveal in the movie of who the Terminators are. Like, obviously, when it's Arnold, that you can't do that because he's like the main one.
But there's a little bit of that going on in T2, You don't really know what's going on with T-1000 until...
No, but you knew he was the villain.
Until the standoff in the mall. Not really.
No, you know that he's a Terminator, though. Oh, no, wait a minute.
You never see him doing his liquid metal shit. You see Arnold come back, and first, I think, so naturally you assume that it's following the same formula as the first movie, and then when they're...
I see what you mean. So that the T-1000 is a resistance fighter sent back to fight the Terminator.
Precisely.
All right, fair enough.
Kind of plays...
But when I saw Terminator 2, I knew that he was the T-1000.
Yeah, I already knew that ahead of time as well. So it kind of ruined that. But audiences at the time That was kind of a thing that James Cameron did to sort of play around with their expectations.
So who's the other T-1000 in the first trailer? Is that John Connor and spoilers, by the way. John Connor's a Terminator now.
It could be. Don't you think making John Connor a Terminator would be like the biggest fucking spoiler that you could ever fucking spoil?
True. But it's in the trailer! So apparently they don't give a fuck, so why should I give a fuck?
Anyway, I think that Asian T-1000 that we see in the first trailer, you could argue that it's the same one from T2, that it's just using a different face.
That would be really weird. That wouldn't match up with the time. I mean, they're already fucking the timeline up big time, but... No, you know what? The only thing that seems to be different is that Arnold's Terminator from the second movie gets sent back earlier in the timeline.
To protect Sarah.
Right. That seems to be the thing that screwed up the timeline was that T-800 got sent back earlier than it initially was. Everything else is the same.
Also,
because the first T-800 from the original Terminator gets sent back at the same time.
This is why I have an inkling of hope that there might be another big spoiler in the movie that they're not spoiling yet. Thank fucking God. They have not given out any information whatsoever as to what Matt Smith is in the movie. However, we know that he's signed on for 3 films. So obviously, whatever it is something substantial.
He's playing Arnold Schwarzenegger's son. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun! I kind of wish he was playing Kyle Reese.
There have been rumors that he might be like an embodiment of Skynet.
So why is he a resistant? Oh, well, I mean, I guess now that we know that John Connor is a fucking Terminator, I guess that would make sense.
Yeah. Which, there's a line in the trailer where Kyle Reese says, whatever they did to John, then we need to reverse it. So I think he's not going to be on the bad side that long. It kind of reminds me in Star Trek TNG of...
But it seems like he did it intentionally. He seems like he was like, you taught me to survive. That was the only thing I found interesting about it, was like, because I think it's just fucking stupid. But it could be interesting if the idea is supposed to be that John, in the future, saw that his mother was wrong, and that the only smart thing they could do was surrender to Skynet and become Terminators. Mm-hmm. And that he did it for survival, which is what his mother taught him. That would be badass. That seems to be what they're doing.
But the real question is, how does Christian Bale turn into the guy from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes?
I don't know, Dylan. I don't know. I do not know. Problem. I don't want it to be a Green Ranger thing. I don't want John Connor to be, like, kidnapped and turned into a Terminator. I really think it'd be cooler if he did it of his own will.
I think a better comparison would be Picard being turned into a Borg, but...
I don't want that. I don't want him to be kidnapped and transformed. I want him to do it on purpose. Because the timeline is different anyway. If they're going to change the timeline, why not just do it that way?
Fucking John Connor's drunk. And, like, Skynet captures him, and they're like, we're going to turn you into a Terminator. And he's so drunk that he doesn't even fight back. He's like, this might as well happen.
Why not? Probe my anus. That's not what we want to do, John. Probe my fucking anus. Dig in there.
Helena Bottam Carter just like, this isn't what we were planning to do.
Dig in there! Get it out of me! What is he talking about? Get it out of me!
Probe my fucking anus.
Stick it in me!
No, we want to turn you into like a nanobot thing.
Stick your probe in my anus!
And then he's like, wait, that's stupid. Why don't you just turn me into a T-1000? It does the exact same thing, and they'd be like,
Oh, shit. He's right. He's basically Galvatron from Age of Extinction.
Pretty much.
Which is like, oh, what a movie to pattern yourself off of.
Hey, you know who we should copy? Michael Bay.
Yeah, that always turns out so well.
That visionary.
Visionary director, Michael Bay.
That man.
Somebody told me recently, oh, wouldn't it be cool if Michael Bay directed a Godzilla movie? And I told them to go stab themselves, and I felt no remorse about that.
Did they go stab themselves?
I hope so. I haven't seen them since, so I have high hopes.
I thought you were about to say, no, they didn't stab themselves, and I'd be like, pity.
No, I think they did, which I'm happy for.
Okay, good.
That's one less. It's like that Phil Collins says. That Phil Collins song says, "There's too many people making too many problems." That guy's one of them. Now there's one less asshole in this world. Anyway.
Yeah. I like how we're casually discussing our hopes that this person committed suicide.
Yep. I feel no remorse about that, because he said Michael Bay should direct a Godzilla movie.
That bastard.
Dylan, Jurassic Park is a good fucking book.
How can one be so stupid?
Ignorance, stupidity, a small penis, I don't know.
Was this the same guy who said that Gohan was the best Pokemon in Yu-Gi-Oh?
I think he was the inspiration. So Dylan, Jurassic Park the book, I like it.
I like it.
I like it a lot. I really enjoyed it. I heavily enjoyed it. It's a great fucking book. And part of it is because it's more about the science fiction ideas behind Jurassic Park than the first movie is. And I guess that's to be expected. It's a fucking book.
And it's written by Michael Crichton. Right.
So obviously the movie is going to have to, because it's a movie, devote a little bit more time to the dinosaur action than to the kind of scientific kind of speculation and kind of postulation than the book can. Because the book is almost entirely people going, here's an idea, now let me explain it to you.
Let me tell you why this is a bad idea.
Not only that, but it's also just like, so if somebody will be like, deep time, what does that mean? And then Alan Grant will go, well, deep time means...
I'm like, okay, the book version of Ian Malcolm is about to explain to me what chaos theory is. A few pages later, I'm like, God, where's Goldblum? Goldblum.
Did you imagine those were you hearing those actors' voices when you were reading those characters? Because I wasn't.
I did with Malcolm.
Malcolm is probably the closest to the version of the movie. The version of the movie is pretty much the same character. Alan Grant, I did not have Sam Neill in my head when I was reading him.
I just pictured like a fat, bearded man.
I imagined Robert Burke, the fucking paleontologist.
Really? Because he's based on the other guy. Yeah.
Robert Packer, that's it.
No, he's based.
Whatever his name is.
I thought Crichton based him on Jack Horner.
No, he didn't base him on Jack Horner.
Because when...
Oh, is he really?
Because in the movie, when the kid says, I read your book, and then he says the name of the book, that's actually a real book that was written by Jack Horner.
Oh, okay.
And then when he says, and then there was another book written by this guy named Packer, yeah, Packer's a real guy.
He's based on one of those two. And then there's a guy in The Lost World that's based on that guy and in the book's version of Alan Grant. And I pictured that guy with a different voice as Alan Grant.
Mm.
When I was reading the first book. Gennaro, I couldn't get a beat on because he's a completely different character.
He is.
Completely different. And it's weird because...
I kind of picture the guy from the movie.
A little bit more muscular.
Yeah.
Because he's described as being rather muscular in the book, and he's not in the fucking movie.
Do you picture the same Dodgson?
Yes. I had no problem. Well, not when I was reading The Lost World, because he has a huge role in the Lost World book, and I did not picture that guy as that Dodgson.
No, that Dodgson feels more like the fucking guy from the Lost World movie, who's Hammond's like nephew or whatever.
Ludlow? I wouldn't even say that. I imagine like a fucking Bond villain as fucking Dodgson in the Lost World book.
We got Dodgson here.
Japanese fighting fish kill each other.
After that last episode of DFOS where we extended the fact that we in fact care about Dodgson.
Yeah.
I noticed other people on Toho Nation saying that they too care about Dodgson. I was like, we've started a movement here.
A we care about Dodgson movement.
Dodgson, right for you, right for America.
Dodgson is here.
Dodgson 2016.
Dylan, make a Photoshop right now of a Dodgson campaign poster.
Fuck Hillary. Vote Dodgson.
Do it! Do that! Fuck Hillary. Vote Dodgson. Please do it.
I might do this.
Yes! I will make it the thumbnail for this episode if you do it. Fuck Hillary. Vote Dodgson. And it's just that picture from the movie of him fucking like smiling. It's a really low-res picture because he's barely in the fucking movie. Oh. So let's talk about the plot, because it's pretty much the same as the first movie, except with except all of the elements.
A lot more exposition, first of all.
Well, first, yeah. The book is a lot of exposition. If you don't like exposition, you're not going to like the book.
There's a genetically engineered tiny elephant in the book.
Yeah. There's also a lot more kind of hypothetical science in the book.
Yeah.
Obviously, the movie features some kind of theoretical science as well. I think I meant to say theoretical, not hypothetical. I think that's different things. There's obviously
both books, but I think I noticed this more in the second one. They get very abstract at times.
Yes, especially when talking about chaos theory.
That's chaos.
The prologue, holy shit, of The Lost World. Holy fuck.
And I'm like, am I reading an academic paper? Because I've read academic papers, and this is pretty close. That's why I love reading. It makes me feel smart when I read the Jurassic Park books, because it's like I feel like I'm getting smarter reading fiction that's based on kind of dated theoretical science. Yeah, some people have asked me before if they should read Crichton or listen to Crichton, and I'm thinking, I don't think you can handle it.
Jurassic Park might be a rough audiobook. I would say read it.
Yeah.
I kind of have the opposite thing with Jurassic Park as I do with H.P. Lovecraft. Listen to Lovecraft, read Jurassic Park.
You're gonna have to go back over some lines. Let me just say.
Yeah, because part of the brilliance of the book is kind of getting into the science, and there's also a lot of visual kind of graphics in the book.
Yeah.
There's computer screens, there's graphs that tell a lot of the story. It's almost like a pseudo graphic novel.
It's a picture book.
Just without pictures. Just kind of graphics to fill that in.
When I say graphic, I mean graphic.
Lots of pussy.
Oh, there's tons of pussy in Jurassic Park. Are you kidding?
But when I say that the book is kind of the same basic plot as the movie but more detail, two of the biggest things about that are, number one, is the fucking breeding. The breeding is, like, so shortly, even, like, thinly veiled in the movie.
Yeah.
It really only takes precedence in one aspect. So Malcolm in the beginning of the movie says, "Life finds a way," is that in the book? Because he has a similar speech in the book.
I don't recall if that exact line is in the book. Again, it's been a while since
He has a similar speech in the book where he basically expresses the whole idea of, like, these dinosaurs will fucking breed.
If you build it, they will fuck.
Right, exactly. No, you know what it is? It's because he has this monologue about how science is a penetrative act.
Oh, yeah.
And in that he talks about how animals, you can't control that. It's going to happen. Regardless of whatever you try to do, it's going to happen. And the whole frogs thing it's kind of like drawn out, because they find out that the dinosaurs are breeding fairly early on, like 100 pages or 150 pages in.
Right.
Right around the scene where they find the Triceratops, they find a dinosaur eggshell, and it's in that sequence that in that section that Alan Grant says, "Did you use frog DNA when you filled in the sequence gaps?"
Yeah, I like how he figures that out himself in the book.
Yeah. Right.
In the movie, they fucking tell him, "We used the DNA of a frog."
Yeah, and I also liked kind of the commentary that was put in that Wu didn't even fucking remember. He was like, "Oh, I put so much different DNA in these dinosaurs, I don't even remember if I put frog DNA." And he had to go back and look.
I love the fact that in the book, Wu wants to do what Wu is now doing in the new movie.
Yeah, everything that he's doing in Jurassic World is foreshadowed in the first book. Genetically engineering them, changing them.
He very theoretically says to Hammond, "Hey, we could make these dinosaurs better," and Hammond pretty much says what Chris Pratt says in the trailer: "They're dinosaurs. Wow, enough."
And I actually like that. Part of the cool thing about the trailer, part of the science fiction ideas that I liked, was that it almost seemed like, all right, part of the problem with doing another Jurassic Park movie is like it's going to be more of the same, just more dinosaurs. And the movie is like, all right, so we need to have something new. And that's part of the story, is that they need something new to get people to keep coming to the park. So they create the Indominus Rex.
Right.
So there's kind of like a meta commentary going on there. So I actually kind of like that. My whole problem is that, again, like what we mentioned earlier, it looks like it's going to turn into a big dumb action movie.
Hammond also says what in that scene where he tells Wu that he doesn't want to genetically engineer the dinosaurs,
Wu is a really three-dimensional character in the book.
Yeah, I wish. Well, I know they didn't really have room for him in the movie.
No, a lot of the characters in the book are way more three-dimensional in the book, obviously, than in the movie. John Arnold.
But I love Wu's character in the book, and I love.
Even Nedry gets more characterization in the book than he does in the movie.
And I love B.D. Wong, the actor. He was the good part about the second trailer. He showed up, and I was like, yeah.
He looks weird though.
Because they told me a long time ago that he was going to be in the movie.
Yeah, he was cast a long time ago. Doesn't he look kind of... What the fuck is he wearing? He looks like he's like in Star Trek or some shit.
I didn't really see what you're talking about.
He's wearing like a black turtleneck and like a black lab coat. He's got like a gray streak in his hair. I'm like, all right, I get it. He's older. But that's a really over-the-top looking outfit.
One weird thing about it is he looks more like he does in SVU than he did the last time that he played this character.
I mean, that would make sense given it's been 22 years.
Yeah, it's just weird for me because the first time I saw him on screen, I didn't think, Dr. Wu. I thought, Dr. Huang, what are you doing here?
What are you doing in Jurassic Park?
was there a rape on this island?
The Indominus Rex raped a T-Rex.
What happened to the sibling? She raped it.
Oh, somebody call Benson and Stabler.
Dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Law and Order. Dino Unit.
In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. On Isla Nublar, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit.
These are their stories. Dun, 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 dun.
At InGen, dinosaur rape is considered especially gross.
It's really weird. You don't want to see that shit. He just gets really candid.
T-Rexes have really long tongues and they do things with them.
It's even long. Oh my god, we have to talk about that scene in the book. Oh my god, that scene is disturbing. Where the T-Rex sticks his head under the waterfall to get Lex and Tim, and he sticks out his tongue, and he like wraps it around Tim.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and I'm like, all right, hentai.
By the way, those kids way more annoying in the book.
Especially, oh my god, I wanted to strangle Lex.
I wanted to climb into the book and murder her.
Tim was all right. They changed it in the movie. In the book, Tim is the older brother and she's the younger sister.
Right, and she's like 5 years old. And the only bad thing about the movie is that scene where she's like, "He left us. He left us." Makes more sense if she was still 5.
I mean, dude, she just got attacked by a fucking T-Rex.
I know, but it's the only time in the movie where she feels like she's being written the same way that she was in the book,
I disagree with that.
As we've just described in the book, I want to fucking kill her.
She's kind of a tomboy in the book, and they keep that for the movie.
Yeah, that's still there.
That she's obsessed with sports and everything.
She has the baseball cap and everything.
Yeah, I liked all that fine. I also liked that they gave her the computer stuff. It just kind of made the two characters feel more unique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're definitely better in the movie. I like Alan Grant better in the movie. I mean, he's just more unique there. He's got more of an interesting character. He's a little bit more personified. In the book, he's kind of just your typical old wise paleontologist, and I guess there's something to say about that, but. I like the way Sam Neill played it and the way David Koepp wrote it.
I love that description, the old wise paleontologist. Well, Sonny, back in 1952, I was digging in the Serengeti.
I was digging in the Philippines, and we found a skeleton with some spores in it, and the mountainside had a big hole in it.
We found evidence of dinosaur-on-dinosaur rape.
We created an elite squad called the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories. Dun 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 dun.
We found the pelvic bone.
It was snapped in half. Oh Jesus. Here's a problem I have with the book. Anyway, so back to the breeding thing. Yeah, the breeding thing is kind of like the problem, like the whole conflict of the book, and in the movie, it's just kind of like a subplot to, not even a plot, just a sub-problem to the whole, hey, we're running away from dinosaurs thing, and the power being out. Because part of the conflict of the book is that animals are getting off the island.
Right.
from the very beginning. That's the conflict from the get-go, is that animals are getting off the island and they're fucking up the ecosystem in Costa Rica.
Compies are in Costa Rica. They're killing babies.
There are raptors in Costa Rica.
Human babies. Speaking of compies and raptors in the same breath, when you were a dumb child, as were I, did you think this...
I was going to say, hey!
Did you...
You were a dumb child once too, Dylan.
When you were a dumb child watching Lost World, did you ever think that they were baby raptors?
No. What I thought was that they were... I didn't hear compies when I was a kid. I heard copies.
Copies.
I thought they were like fucking king snakes, where they were like or milk snakes, where they tried to imitate the look of other dinosaurs to survive. So they took on the overall shape of raptors, so that they would look like raptors and they wouldn't be preyed upon.
That's a really complicated theory.
That's what I thought, though, dude. That's what I thought.
I never paid much attention to the scene where the guy says the species name, that they're Compsognathus and all that shit. And
I didn't hear any. I was like, oh my god, that guy's got a fucking taser. What's he gonna do with it?
So for the longest fucking time, I was just like, well, they look like raptors. I guess they're little raptors.
No, I didn't think they were raptors. I also thought they might have been like little T-Rexes or something. I don't know.
And they behave kind of like raptors. I mean, they hunt in a pack.
They don't hunt though. They're scavengers.
Oh, they very clearly hunted that guy down.
Yeah, but they don't seem to do that. I don't know. I guess they were wrong about that then, because they also try to kill the girl in the beginning.
Yeah, the guy's like, oh, they're just scavengers, and then they fucking like eat his comrade.
Fair enough. I guess the difference is that the raptors can take down people on their own. They just happen to hunt in packs.
In a scene very similar to John Hammond's death in the book.
Yeah. Almost identical, in fact, except his leg doesn't get broken in the movie.
Right. Well, not that I know of. That last fall, who knows?
Yeah, but his death is very similar. He's in a river. It's slow. He doesn't seem to take the compies very seriously. And the overall scene is very similar. He's shouting and nobody's hearing him. That's exactly what happens to Hammond in the book.
Doesn't Hammond like fall down a hill or something?
Yeah, he falls down a hill and breaks his leg,
and
because he's fucking 76 years old, he can't do anything. So, though to be fair to the dude, he's not very likable in the book.
Zombies are coming to kill him. He's like, look here, if I was at 76 years old and had a hip replacement, non-dialysis, and COPD, I'd kick your ass.
I would tell you that you could sign my ass. Sean Connery would have been a pretty beast, fucking John Hammond.
I would write you a strongly worded letter.
Spare no expense.
I would spare no expense. I would use only the finest stationery.
Buy the best stamp ever. It would have a picture of a compy on it, because it would be fucking meta. Yo.
Yo.
Street
Connery.
Street John Hammond. Andres and I, when I was in California, we were batting around different ideas, like, okay, what if it ever happened? What if they remade Jurassic Park? And one thing I said, I want a young, kind of, like Tony Stark-esque John Hammond if they ever remake Jurassic Park.
Fucking Jesse Eisenberg.
No, get like a younger guy who kind of has like more of an edge to him to play John Hammond, and that might be kind of a cool way to make it different, but not scary.
Or not.
Maybe a little scary. But the whole breeding thing in the book is way more emphasized. The whole idea of the animals getting off the island is way more emphasized. The whole lysine thing is more emphasized.
The thing is more emphasized. The whole lysine thing is also much better explained.
Yeah, it is. In the movie, it's like, so we could use the lysine contingency.
And I'm like, what the fuck is that? See, I've already talked about how when I was a kid, I thought they were just gonna like push a button.
Yeah,
all the fucking dinosaurs would die, but essentially what the lysine efficiency is that guy basically just said, hey, we could stop feeding them.
Right, exactly. Ellie Sattler is way better in the movie. Oh my god, in the book, she's just a fucking around.
Yeah.
All she does is patch up Malcolm and distract the Velociraptors. That's it. Because at one point, when they're inside the visitors' lounge, the raptors are trying to claw their way through the bars in the windows.
When you say distract the raptors, I just get this picture in my head of like the raptors, right, and they're chasing fucking like Grant, Then all of a sudden they just hear, like, Sattler. She's off to the side. She's like, yoo-hoo!
Hey, you! Yeah, the raptors are about the same as they are in the movie. They're pretty terrifying.
Oh, in the book? Yeah.
Yeah, they're, that kitchen scene is exactly the same in the book as it is in the movie.
Yeah. I love the way Crichton describes them.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, just to speak a little bit about Crichton, what a wordsmith.
Oh, he's a brilliant writer. He writes a little bit kind of candidly, which I think is cool. He doesn't overbear you with big words, but his structure is eloquent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because he's talking about really big, complex scientific ideas, but he doesn't bear you down with really overly exaggerated descriptions and big words. Like, because that's part of what I like about Lovecraft, is that he does do that, but the dude wasn't fucking a scientist. So
at the beginning of the first fucking book, when Crichton is describing, like, the history of genetic research, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that is accurate to what happened in the real world.
I mean, the ideas are still true pretty much, is the whole idea of, like, genetic research is kind of doesn't really require discipline, which is in the movie as well. It's kind of like, it's privatized.
Right.
I mean, I think his idea is a little bit kind of weird, because I'm like, well, isn't all scientific research privatized in some respect? Like, even weapons. Like, there are corporations that build weapons.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, very fascinating. He's just, it's fun to read.
It's a brilliant read. Again, if you've only seen the movie and you're like kind of weird about reading books based on movies that you've never read the books of before you saw the movie, like that's how I was when I read Jaws. I was like, oh my god, this is so different. I can't even get into this. By the way, after I finish The Lost World, the first thing I'm rereading is Jaws.
What's the second thing you're rereading?
Oh Jesus, that's a good question. We'll have to finish all that big Lovecraft book I have. I never finished it. That and there's a book about shark attacks I never finished. Then I'm gonna get back into the Bond books and keep going with those. I'm getting heavy into books, Dylan. Oh, and I'm currently I'm also reading Volume 5 of Godzilla: Rulers of Earth. Which is awesome.
Break up all those dinosaurs with some kaiju.
Dinosaurs, James Bond, sharks, Lovecraftian horror monsters, and James Bond. That's pretty much it.
Horror monsters. That's a great description.
It's late. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, Gennaro in the book doesn't die.
He's not generic.
Well, all right. Here's part of the problem with the book. I can see why they cut down the cast of the movie, because you don't need all those fucking characters.
Yeah.
So the book has this other major character who basically fills in the role of Gennaro with Ed Regis.
Right.
Who basically is Gennaro from the movie. He goes around in the cars with them. He's defending the park to them. Because Gennaro is pretty much against the park throughout the entire book.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly. He's pretty much always... And even when he's not against the park, he's always like very eager to listen to Malcolm's opposition to the park.
Right, which is obviously very different than what's in the movie.
He's way more level-headed, which is why I have such a big problem with the ending.
Which is odd, because in the movie, he's the one who fucking brings Malcolm.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
And he's like, fuck you, I don't care what you have to say.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about the ending. So the book has a really weird climax.
Are you talking about the
and I think it's a little... Yeah, so what happens is they turn the power back on, everybody's pretty much safe, and it seems like everything's about to wrap up, and then Alan Grant goes, we're not done yet. And then all of a sudden, in my opinion, almost out of nowhere, he just turns on Gennaro. And is like, fuck you, Gennaro, this is all your fault. Now we're going to clean up this mess. And Gennaro's like, we just called in the fucking military. They're going to bomb the shit out of the island. He's like, no, we got to go out there. We got to find every goddamn nest. We got to count the eggs and make sure all these dinosaurs die now. And Gennaro's like, why? Like, the military's going to bomb them. I guess the whole idea is like Alan wants to make sure none of them get away, but then all of a sudden, Crichton kind of rewrites Gennaro's character to kind of fit that persona more, of like being this almost sniveling kind of coward. And I'm like, this is not the same dude who a couple of chapters ago drove a Jeep away from a T-Rex. And went out of his way to save Molden's life, who told him to leave him behind, if he had to. I just thought that Crichton was rewriting the character because since Hammond was dead, he needed somebody to pin all the blame on.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? I found that a huge problem.
I don't know if it bothered me that much, but I see what you mean.
And the whole climax of the Raptors, I just thought it was really bizarre. Like, they go into this tunnel, they see all the eggs, they see all the raptors in the darkness. There's that weird shit with the migration, which was kind of a cool idea, in that the book is hugely supportive of the whole thing of dinosaurs evolved into birds, not reptiles.
Yeah.
That's obviously cool. But I just thought it was really weird. And then I thought that the epilogue was too short. I wanted more. I wanted more closure. I wanted a little bit more kind of like aftermath. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially with all the different characters that were in the book. I mean, the first 80 pages don't even introduce our protagonists.
No.
So I kind of wanted some closure with them, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was my problem with the ending. But I loved it. It's a fantastic book.
Yeah.
Great read. It's nice and lengthy, so it's kind of something you can spread out over a while. It took me about about 2 weeks to get through it.
I think Alan and the kids spent maybe too long on the raft.
Yeah, I can see that.
There were times when I was like, "Can we get them off the raft?" And it's so weird. It's so weird reading a book that has a movie based off on it when the movie is like one of the things you're most familiar with in life. Because
Jurassic Park is one of those movies that I think everybody in SOS knows like the back of their hands.
Because it's just weird because that whole thing with the raft, it goes on entirely too long from like a cinematic standpoint.
But it's not trying to be written as cinematic, though, is the problem.
Exactly. It's fine in a book, but when you're...
And it's not boring. There's a lot of shit that happens. I mean...
But when I'm reading it, I'm not thinking of it as a book. I'm thinking of it as, hey, this is Jurassic Park.
Yeah, exactly. It took me a while to get into that mindset of, okay, this is not the movie, this is a separate thing that's kind of like the movie. So, yeah, I don't know. I loved it, though, and I'm also loving The Lost World. So far, it's a great horror story in terms of, like, the kind of, like, it's almost got this Godzilla-esque opening of, like, there's some kind of creature out there that's unidentified in Costa Rica, and this guy, Richard Levine, is going to go find out what it is, because he has this theory called the Lost World theory, that there's, out there somewhere, there's a world of extinct animals that never went extinct. And obviously, and he gets Ian Malcolm into this theory.
He has the science skills of a Carl Denham.
That's a brilliant quote. You need to put that on the Dodgson for president fucking ballad thing, is he's got the science skills of a Carl Denham. And let people interpret that for themselves.
He was an average executive, but he was a brilliant scientist.
But I love The Lost World so far. I can't wait to... as soon as we get off this call, I'm gonna hop back into it and read it until I go to bed.
And I'm going to not. No.
Well, you've read it already.
I've read it already. Great book. Great piece of literature.
So let's talk about the what is it called? The iterations, the weird curves that Malcolm draws in both books.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to pretend to understand chaos theory, but it's got something to do with that.
So the whole idea is that as the plot gets as the park falls apart, the curve gets more and more fucked up.
It gets more chaotic.
Exactly, and Malcolm begins to say, like, okay, chaos is inevitable. The structure will fall apart. I don't understand how that is represented in the fucking pictures. But that's what his lines mean on the quotes that they write underneath the drawings.
Yeah, each picture comes with a handy dandy little thing like, as you can see, it gets more fucking. Basically amounts to, hey, it's getting more chaotic. Get it? Chaos?
Yeah,
exactly.
Jurassic Park is chaos. Okay. The Lost World has it, and I don't know what the fuck it means. And my concern is that, are they going to do the same thing? Where it's like, the story is going to become more and more chaotic, and I'm like, isn't that kind of repetitive?
Yeah, no, because in The Lost World, they sort of spend some more time examining a dinosaur ecosystem that has existed on this island undisturbed by humans for a while. That's more of what that book winds up being about.
Do the drawings reflect that?
From what I remember, not really.
Or is it just chaos theory?
You remember in the movie when he takes them up into that tree thing?
The high hide.
Yeah, that thing. That plays a much larger...
It's a high hide. A high hide.
Yeah. That plays a much larger role in the book. They stay up there for quite some time and observe the movements of the dinosaurs and shit like...
Are Eddie and Nick in the book?
I don't remember.
Because I like them. I know a lot of people are like, why is Vince Vaughn in a Jurassic Park movie? And I'm like, because he funny.
He funny.
Even though he took their bullets.
That fucking asshole.
So yeah, I love Jurassic Park the book. I really enjoyed it. So you can enjoy it too.
Go support your local bookstore.
Do it, yeah, they're dying out there. So go ahead and do that.
Or be like me and download them digitally.
Absolutely. So Dylan,
if you want to support the death of the American bookstore.
Only make Barnes & Noble safe. Dylan, I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of Demons from Outer Space. Is there anything else you want to say announcement-wise, or any comments on the things we've discussed tonight?
No.
I have something. So, brief little schedule announcement. The time we're doing this is a little strange. Because last weekend was really, really hectic for me, and Dylan and I weren't able to sit down and do the show. So we're actually doing the show on a Monday night this week, which means it'll probably go up on the Wednesday following that. So here's what that means. There will be a little bit of a lull in between this episode and the next episode. So we're going to go back to the normal schedule next week, because we're not going to do the show on Thursday this week because I'm going to see Avengers: Age of Ultron. So
and I'm probably going to jack off and go to sleep.
I'll do that later. So I'm going to the midnight opening of Avengers: Age of Ultron. I'm going to have a party in my house like I did for Godzilla, so I'm not going to be able to do the podcast. So we're going to go dark for that Thursday, and this will kind of go up as kind of like the intermediary podcast of filling in for last week and this week, and then we'll go back to the normal schedule next week.
Are you confused yet?
I certainly am. So that's all I wanted to say pretty much. Aside from that, keep watching SOS. Go ahead and like the Sons of Sarazawa Network homepage on Facebook. And, be sure to keep your feet on the stars and keep reaching for the ground. So until next time, I'm Bill Worster, a.k.a. Zazabar.
I'm Super DM64.
And as always, Dem Shaman! Fuck. And Chaos Theory. Chaos Theory is also.
Ha ha ha.
Ha ha ha.